With your connection to local agriculture, I'm Joanna Guza. I talked with Dan Wiese of Wiese Brothers Farms located in Greenleaf, and he told me that his go-to cover crops are barley and radish. I asked him to explain why.
Our trucking company deals a lot with the breweries, so even the microbreweries, Anheuser-Busch, when it used to be in Manitowoc, all those things. And so we have the opportunity to buy a lot of waste barley. It's extremely good barley, but not good enough to make beer with. And so we get a pretty reduced price on this barley. We actually feed ground barley every day. So we grind about 25% of our ground energy is barley and 75% of it is ground corn. So we get a large amount of barley.
Now, what is that value that barley brings to your soil?
Barley absolutely doesn't have the root structure that rye does. So we get the cover crop effect of barley while leaving the soil very light and tilthy versus rye that will have an extremely large root mass, shallow in the soil, and sometimes make it very difficult to no-till through that root mass if it gets dry.
What has been your application rate for cover crops?
In order to keep the fields so that it can dry out in spring, we will stay at fairly low rates. We put probably 30 to 40 pounds of barley and a half pound of radish. And if you've ever seen a radish seed, a lot like a mustard seed, there are billions of seeds in a half a pound. So people think that's not very much. There are quite a few radishes out there at a half pound. We started out at 2 or 3 pounds several years ago, and that was just a ridiculous amount of radishes out in the field, and actually made almost too many holes in the field when they rotted and had hard to plant through. So we've really backed that off, and everybody in this area, we like to talk and share different methods and trials and successes, even more so failures. We learn more from our failures, but cover crops are more and more integral part to everyone's conservation practice in this area.
And that's your connection to local agriculture. I'm Joanna Guza.